There's a clip from Nick Fuentes. He addresses the concept of enclaving, forming enclaves. He addresses the concept, and he pretends as if he's thought about this, and he clearly hasn't. So I want you guys to watch the clip in its entirety. I'm not going to go over it sentence by sentence. You can watch the clip in its entirety, and then I'm going to address how utterly retarded it is. So here's the clip.
Megan Kelly Squatch sent $20. Hey Nick, first time sending a super chat. I was wondering what your opinion on the Catholic land movement is. I really like it, but I'm wondering if pulling back and secluding and trying to isolate and create many societies may not be good in the long run.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what the Catholic land movement is. It sounds like what it sounds like. So this is some kind of return to the land thing where we all buy a parcel of land and go and be Catholic over there. I just don't. Here's the thing. I have never believed in that because look at the Russian Revolution. The Russian Revolution happened in St. Petersburg, happened in Moscow. And then they fought the Civil War everywhere. And when they won, they used the railroads to go out to the kulaks and kill all of them. And there's a lesson in this, which is that you may not take an interest in politics, but politics takes an interest in you. You may think you're too good for the city or, you know, we lost the city or something like that. But the city is where the power is. LA, New York, Cambridge, San Fran, DC, Nova. This is where the power is. So people that want power over America are going to go there. And they want to control everyone and everything that happens in these borders. So for all these people that say, well, we're just going to go out to the farmland where they can't get us, where we can do a thing all by ourselves. Okay, it's the 21st century. You can't just pick up Bikini Bottom and take it somewhere else. They'll just drive to where you are and kill you. As a matter of fact, they won't even need to drive. They have drones. So they will just send a drone out and they will kill you that way. So this like, you know, we're all going to go and form our breakaway settlement in the middle of nowhere. They will kill you, just like they killed the kulaks. If you build anything worthwhile, if you build anything with any economic activity, they will come and take your shit. So unless you're talking about sovereignty, if you want to go to an island and get a nuclear bomb, I support that. If white people want to go on an island, claim it for themselves, get recognition and protection from Russia and China, get a nuclear bomb, and say, nobody fucking touch us, we have nukes. If you want to go like North Korea, you want to go like Israel, hey, that's a realistic plan. But this like, we're going to go to Kansas and like raise up a flag, you're just LARPing. You're like one of these micro countries that they do YouTube videos about. You're like one of these micro countries inside America where they make their own monopoly money and they LARP like they're a head of state. Because you're at the mercy of the government. And I've always felt that way about this. I just think it's a form of denial. Escapism is a form of denial because here's what happens. You look at the battle and it's like we really have an uphill battle here. And it seems so hopeless. And you think about what would be required to change things, and it's daunting. And it's easier to say, we don't need to do that. We could just go over here. La, 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 let's just go over here. Let's build a little amphitheater, and let's set up a little community center, and, you know, let's have like 100 white people that all agree on right-wing politics. La, la, la. No, this isn't happening. We're not being raped to death. We're going to form a whites-only community, and everyone's going to join us. It's like, yeah, if it works, it either doesn't work. If it does work, they're just going to crush you. They're going to use their power, intelligence, finance, military, tech, and they're just going to destroy you. So it is a power struggle, and we have to play it. We have to win it. Don't kid yourself. Going and starting a breakaway settlement is a form of a power struggle. It's just one that doesn't have a very good chance at succeeding. I would take my chances in a power struggle trying to become a billionaire, trying to start some tech company, trying to go to Harvard and get into a major institution. That has a better chance of winning the power struggle than, getting a hammer and a toolkit, a toolbox, and building a little trailer, building a little hut. Who's going to win the power struggle? The guy with 5 billionaires on his side, the guy with 100 high-powered lawyers on his side, the guy with, a guy with real power in the cities or something, real capital, or the guy that's like, got the villagers.
I talk about Nick Fuentes somewhat often because I see one particular similarity between him and I that I don't really see with anyone else, which is we're both individuals on a mission for the future of the country. And you'll notice anyone who pays attention to Fuentes, and I don't anymore. I used to watch his show just to watch it, really, just to pay attention to what he's saying, because I know I'm going to hear about it later. But what I've come to realize about Fuentes is that he is staunchly against organizing of any kind, which kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, what's the point of even discussing the future of the country if you refuse to organize in any way and you tell everyone else not to organize in any way? And you talk about power, you talk about winning, you talk about being a leader. What is the Groyper movement if there's no organization to it? I saw a video recently, and I recommend everyone everywhere watch this video. Put a screenshot of it right here. Watch this video, everyone. But this guy addresses a very simple point, and Fuentes has no counter to it. He'll claim he does. He'll just, like, if someone brings this video up to him, brings up the main points against Fuentes in this video up to him, he would just laugh it off and say, "Oh, this guy's stupid. He doesn't understand anything," and then he'd move on to the next subject. Fuentes doesn't actually know how to address criticism. All he knows how to do is chuckle, kind of giggle like a girl, and then go on a rant where he misses the point, and then he moves on. I imagine if Fuentes was watching this video here and heard my arguments, he would do exactly that. Wouldn't actually address anything. But that's what I'm going to do with everything he said, with all the shit that came out of his mouth in this clip I showed you guys. Fuentes argues that forming an enclave is just running away. It's just escapism. It's just a different form of fleeing. And technically, it could be that. It could be just that. But he fails to understand that it doesn't have to be that. He thinks that when you go and form your own groups, that all you're doing is running and hiding. So I'll do my best to explain a very simple concept. It's called concentration. And I don't mean meditation here. I mean concentrating your resources, concentrating the strength of your group. Enclaving is anti-atomizing, because we are atomized now. That's undeniable. We are atomized. Enclaving is just simply choosing to no longer be atomized. Bringing your resources together. Bringing your people together physically if you can. Thanks to the internet, it doesn't even have to be physical all the time. It can be online. And I'll get to the whole, like, the feds are watching you shit. I'll get to that. But it can be online. It doesn't have to even be physical. Ideally, obviously, at some point it has to be physical, but it doesn't entirely always have to be physical. Enclaving is just when your group chooses to come together. It's not just, all right, let's get some land and then we'll just live on it. It's not that fucking simple. And to reduce it to that, it's comments like that from Fuentes that make me think he might be a Fed. He's there, he's a plant to make sure people don't get these ideas. He'll mock them, he'll ridicule them, anyone who thinks of these ideas in an effort to get people to not do them because they will work. But anyway, enclaving is not just you get some land You choose to live on it, and then yippee skip, we now have our own nation. Enclaving is, at least, let me put it this way. I'll be charitable to Fuentes with his retarded take here. The intelligent way to enclave is not that. That is, like, everything he described in that clip is the stupid way to do it. To just simply run away while still being on someone else's territory. That is the stupid way to do it. Just like the stupid way to walk is to walk on your tiptoes with your eyes closed. There is a stupid way to do just about anything. And Fuentes wants his audience, he wants everyone in America to think that the way he described enclaving is the only way to do it. Nice try. I'll say it again to make sure everyone hears me loud and clear. It is concentrating what you have. It means gathering, focusing, congregating, whatever fucking synonym you want to use. That's what it means. Coming together and using everything you've got, everything you collectively have, to do something about the situation. It is about resources first and geography second. Resources first, geography second. You can do it just as effectively over the internet as you can physically. In fact, I would possibly even argue it's easier, it's better to do it over the internet because we have digital currency now. In the age of the internet, in the age of computers, I'm not talking crypto. I mean, we can send money digitally. There are many different ways to do that now through a screen. Giving someone resources, it's not like the old days where you have to physically hand them the coins or hand them the pigs or the chickens. You don't have to do that. You can just send them money. So, begs the question, the elephant in the room is, all right, how do you concentrate it? You pool it together, you pool your money together. Someone has to control it, right? It can't be everybody at once. That's what you were already doing. It can't be everyone at once, because then you're just back to being atomized. The real obstacle with enclaving is right here at this step. Who controls the collective power? And us monarchists should have the advantage here, but I've come to learn 90+% of us are still just as retarded as any Democrat, lowercase d Democrat. Too stupid to realize, we supposedly believe in hierarchy, right? But we don't want to give any of our resources. We don't want to concentrate our power at all. Still act like a bunch of selfish, childish women. Everyone wants to be the one who controls the pool, the resources, all the power. They either want to be that or they want to bitch about who was chosen to do it. That's the real obstacle here. I'm going to explain how this works. And it's really just to emphasize enclaving is not just about running away, running and hiding. Here's how it would work if your group got over the obstacle of who's going to lead, who's going to control the power of your group. Here's how it would work, and it's very simple math. Let's say you have a group of 1,000 people, and hell, let's say this 1,000 people, they're scattered all over the world, but you have 1,000 people, and they all believe in the same thing. Your specific group is of, a certain ethnic makeup, a certain religious belief, whatever it is. There's 1,000 of you. You're all locked in. You're a group. You are committed to this cause. And let's say wherever these people are, I assume they can all buy coffee in the morning, whether they live in Japan or Indonesia, Singapore, France, South Africa, Germany, Brazil. I'm sure they can buy a morning coffee. I'm sure they can buy a coffee in the morning every morning. And let's say they're so committed to the cause that they forego coffee in the morning permanently, and instead they send that money to their leader every morning. Call it morning coffee power. 1,000 people send their morning coffee money to their leader every morning. And let's say it's the equivalent of, $5 or something. $5 from 1,000 people every morning. That's $5,000 a day. a day. And you think one person with those kinds of resources can't buy anything of value? You think they couldn't buy land someday? You think they couldn't buy weapons someday? Not just buy land, but build things on that land. You think they couldn't do that? And it's just morning coffee fund. His people send their morning coffee money to him, and that's all. That's it. Nothing more than that. You think he couldn't get something accomplished? Or maybe he builds a brand of some kind. He forms some kind of online presence outside of his group. Maybe he starts doing interviews or something, starts going to rallies. Just my point is, like, don't take my examples as like the only things he could do. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. What could he not do is my point. What could he not do with those resources? He could buy stuff. He could go places, talk to people, meet people, and all of it would be for the sake of his group, for the sake of his enclave and their future. And give him a little time. He's bought some stuff. He's met some people. He's made connections. He's built up a reputation of some kind because he has the resources to earn that kind of respect, to earn whatever he needs. Then what could he do? He could start bringing people to him. And hell, you know what? Let's even pretend he doesn't buy land. He doesn't even buy land. He just uses these resources from the morning coffee fund. He uses these resources to simply make connections to powerful people, or people who at least to some extent have more resources than him. However he does it, he uses the resources his people gave him to level up. And then, after he levels up, he starts bringing his people to him, wherever they are in the world. They start actually moving to where he is. And again, pretending, he doesn't even buy land. They just simply move to his town. Oh, there's a vacant house over here. I'll buy that for you. Or hell, even an apartment. There's an apartment here. I'll pay your rent for 5 years straight. He could do that. He has the resources now. He starts bringing his people to him. And as he brings his people to him, they start, a lot of them may not even know each other at first, possibly. Or maybe they did. They just never met in person. They start getting married. They start getting together. They start making babies. Little by little, they start moving to the area. They start having kids. My point is, with just a morning coffee fund and enough patience, you can form an enclave anywhere. You can buy just about anything you need, and if you're willing to take it slow, not so slow that nothing ever happens, but slow enough that it doesn't raise any concerns from the people in power. You think no one could do this? And again, nobody take my words too literally here. There are thousands of different ways to do this. If you're patient enough and clever enough, anyone can do this. Just choose to focus, to concentrate your group's resources. And there are ways you could achieve this that even I haven't thought of. There are many, many different ways to enclave. Over time, you slowly take over a town. Then you take over a county. Maybe even, given enough time, you take over a state. You think once you start bringing people into your area, that's not going to affect local elections? There are many different ways to do this, and it's so fucking easy. And many of these ways, many of these methods would slip right under the radar. Hell, you could even announce what exactly you're doing. You could even announce it. Tell everyone. Not even try to keep it a secret. And guess what? They're still not going to come in, the U.S. military is still not going to come in guns a-blazing to stop you. No, I'm just helping people move closer to me. That's all you have to say. And they would not be justified in crushing you. They wouldn't be justified. In the eyes of the public, in the eyes of the international community, it would be a mass murder for no justifiable reason. All you were doing was just bringing like-minded people closer to you. That's all you did. Do it slowly enough, do it patiently enough, and you'd be amazed how much power you can wield as a group. especially if you have the right leader. And hell, some of these enclaves would have a corrupt motherfucker, a Jim Jones kind of guy. And I don't just mean the cyanide thing. I mean just like someone who's only out for their own ego. They're only doing this like to get rich. They make it a giant scam. There's going to be some of those, of course. But it's better to try than to not try, don't you think? At least you put in the effort. That's a gamble that's more justified than like trying to gamble off of crypto or some shit, or Polymarket, or buying a lottery ticket. You know, if you're going to make some kind of bet on your own future with your own money, I would put it towards this more than any of those other methods any day of the week. Let's come together, group up, allocate our resources, put it in the hands of the right person. Here's how it works. I call it tenting. I think of it as like raising a tent. If you take, and you can do this with pretty much any fabric, lay it out and then pinch the middle of it and then slowly raise your hand. You notice that one point starts dragging the rest of the fabric up. That's how this works. That's how concentrating your resources and putting those resources in the hands of a leader, that's how it works. They rise, and then a few people rise behind the leader, and then a few people rise behind them. On and on it goes until eventually your entire group is lifted. Give one person the means to do anything they have to for the advancement of the group. And hell, you know, this is going to be so slow that the group could actually keep a close eye on what he's doing. And they can pull their funding if they think he's a corrupt motherfucker. If the group thinks he's just scamming them, they can pull their funding. Okay, this is not an overnight thing. Like overnight, 1,000 people just throw all of their money at one person. That, you know, it's far too slow for that. It's slow enough that they can watch him and make sure he's doing what they want him to do as their leader. And again, monarchists should understand this better than anyone else, because we actually believe in hierarchy. We actually believe in one person controlling all the resources. But funny, we never act like it. I'm starting to hate my own community, to be honest. Just so immature and stupid, and it's irritating. But anyway, it starts with one person, and they have all the resources they need for whatever they need. You can treat it like a savings account if you want, or the leader could invest in things. Like the sky's the limit as to what the leader can do to advance the group. And the wisest of leaders would seek advice, you know, from the wisest among them. How should I wield our resources, our power? And yes, eventually it becomes geographic. You start bringing people to you, or you find a place for all of you to live. And maybe that's out in the country. Who knows? 1,000 people isn't so bad, is it, though? Slowly but surely. What if that 1,000 people turns into 2,000, 7,000, 15,000? Suddenly your enclave isn't so small, is it? Especially if you guys are just simply moving to a local area just to affect the local elections. I keep saying this, there are so many ways to do this, and it all starts from just simply concentrating your resources. And let's bring this back to Nick Fuentes. I actually took the time to add up how much he makes in one night from Super Chats. And these are just the Super Chats he reads. And it seems like he only reads Super Chats that are $20 and above. Well, just from those, I added up that he made $5,063 in a single night. And I would bet if I had counted all of the smaller Super Chats, it would have been much more. Maybe 8,000, 10,000, who knows? From a single night. People, here's my point in bringing up Fuentes again. His audience, his groypers, and Super Chats aren't always from groypers. It could be from people who don't even like him. But the point is, random people giving small amounts adds up. And Fuentes is proof of this. Vast resources from small amounts from lots of people. Consistent. It's not even about the size of your group. Not really. It's about how committed they are and how consistent they are. Like I said, just a morning coffee fund. If your entire group, even if it's just 100 people, 50 people, 25 people, if instead of buying a morning coffee, they sent that money to their leader. What's 5 times 25? That's obviously not very much. That's only about it comes to $800 or something a week. It's a start. Maybe when your group is smaller, it's going to require a bit more commitment than just morning coffee money. But your group does not even have to be big to start making some changes, to start making something happen. I'm doing my best to explain how to do this correctly, not stupidly, which is how Nick Fuentes was describing it. Oh yeah, just buy some land and run away. No. That is by far not the only way to do this. It's one of the stupidest ways to do it. But to pretend it's the only way to do it, that's retarded. That's disingenuous. That is deceptive. This is actually very easy. Enclaving is very easy. If you are a group that believes in your cause and you do it for the sake of your group because your group is meant to be your future, anyone trying this shouldn't encounter very many selfish people because they're more likely to be committed to the cause rather than just being selfish. More likely. So enclaves absolutely work, and anyone who still disagrees, I welcome the challenge. Just try to debate me on this. It's basic math. Good luck arguing against that. Good luck coming with excuses against that. You know this will work. Everyone listening to me talking right now, you know this would work. You're just too chicken shit. Enclaves won't just work. I think they're the only possible solution to the mess that is the West right now. In the short term, it's a lot of soft power. Nobody can deny Nick Fuentes, who became a prominent figure through this exact method. A lot of people giving a little bit of their resources to him, concentrating it to him, and then he does fuck all with it. He's not a serious person. He does fuck all with it. He just says, oh, look, I'm rich. Now let me bitch about things and be inconsistent with my arguments. The guy's a joke, but he is proof that this works, at least in a mathematical way. Anyone who tries this, enclaving, it's soft power in the short term. Do it long enough, do it smart enough, and effectively enough. In the long term, it will become hard power. Keep your group concentrated. Keep them close. Make sure your only true influence is each other. Stay within your group. And again, you don't have to be living with each other from the beginning to do this. The internet makes this possible. You can be scattered all over the world and still stick to your group. In fact, I would recommend, I will recommend people don't just buy land outright and then concentrate all of their people on that land. I would even recommend don't do that. Simply move to the same areas. And that's the last step too. It is necessary to stay close-knit in the long term. I'm not saying don't do it, but I would say do it last. Stick to your group. Be smart, be patient, it'll work.